Hope. I wanted to talk about this really annoying thing that happened. It was a comment Anal Eaten Mummy God, I guess ex Anal Eaten Mummy God, made, where he basically talked about if somebody is destined for greatness, you can't stop it from happening. And I said, ask Martin Luther King, he got a bullet to the head. Ask Abraham Lincoln, he got, once again, it's this church that does that. They murder these people. And then he went, ah! Because he didn't like that. And I was like, okay. And we were talking. And I was like, okay. I was like, so let's say you have an Olympic athlete. And he's like, yeah. And he's destined to become one of the fastest and best runners in the Olympics. And he's like, okay. And I was like, your church blows his legs off because he says something about your church leader that your church leader doesn't like. His destiny was to become a great Olympic runner. How does he become that? And he goes, well, he goes into the handicapped Olympics, and then he becomes a great Olympic runner. I was like, but that's the handicapped Olympics. I was like, his original destiny was the normal Olympics. I was like, not the handicapped Olympics. You guys derailed that man's greatness, and then you dare say that fate and destiny don't exist, and you have to take control of it with your own hands. And then we started discussing the understanding of morals and values, which Anal Eaten Mummy God became very confused when I was like, you develop your sense of morality as you grow up. If you are a poor kid, and your parents, Danny Trejo talks about this. His dad taught his uncle, trained him how to rob people. And that was part of his values. He didn't actually understand what he was doing was wrong. Okay? When you're a part of this religious cult and you're murdering people because they said words you didn't like and you've been doing that since a kid, murdering people becomes a part of your moral code. You don't need to throw out your morals, to achieve your highest self, because as a kid you develop those to begin with. It is not some weird function that's a cage that stops you from becoming something great, okay? But he brought up that, well, you're supposed to, and he goes, well, what if you're supposed to be great, and you know you're supposed to be great, and the only way to become great is you have to kill this person. I was like, so you're implying that some people are born just for you to murder. I was like, and that's how that works. And he went, and I was like, so if I had to kill you, you would be okay with it? And he went, no! And I was, why? And because I'm in control. And I was, you're not in control. Stop saying that. You're not in control. I was like, control's not a thing. And we had a back and forth on this, and he started getting more unhinged and crazy because what every narcissistic, malignant narcissistic loser church leader in this church lacks is agency and accountability. They have no agency in their lives. They're just here and they do things. And they do things and then move on. Like, it's that shit they say, narcissistic people, do stupid things like a small child, and then you have to deal with it, because they're not gonna. And that is what Stu and every church leader is. They're a baby. And it's the same thing with Blondie. He's a baby. In their own self-righteousness, they believe that they need to be respected as men. So what do? I'm going to threaten to kill you if you don't respect me. I'm going to mess up your life if you don't respect me, because I behave like a 2-year-old, but I'm not going to grow up, and you're not going to make me grow up, because my philosophy says to get rid of my morals. And what is a person without morals? It's a child. A child doesn't have morals yet. They develop those later. That's why kids are joyful and cruel. So you have a religion that makes people infantile. Now, I spoke about this in a really, the shit that killed me is I was retarded on heavy metals, and you are the finest bastard on the planet to torture an autistic guy and then poison him with heavy metals to make him even stupider, and then so you can win conversations, because everything's a competition. You're not having a conversation with these people. They're competing with you, and they're trying to win the conversation, and the conversation isn't something to win. A conversation is about finding out who's right. It's not about fucking or whose ideology actually works. It's not about winning, okay? When you make the other person stupid so you can win, the only thing you've done is facilitated that you can be a piece of shit and win. Okay, we all know you can be a piece of shit and win, okay? It's when you don't do that is when you're you have actual integrity as a person. But yeah, we had a long back and forth on this, and each time he kept getting mad and telling me I keep doing that, and I realized what I was doing to him. I kept giving him agency, and he kept running from agency because he doesn't like agency. Neither do any of these church members. That's why I believe a big chunk of Carl Jung's individualization, where he talks about the spirit provides purpose, and that purpose is what real drive is. Where these people go, oh, the will to power, which is the neat shit, which is you destroy all these facets of that regulate you, because that's what they do. All these things, all the parts of the brain regulate you. You become completely unregulated. You become emotionally dysregulated, and you turn into a chaos ball. And then you just go crashing into everything, destroying everyone in your path. And if anybody says anything, you kill them. You don't ever let anything like authority or laws or anything get in your way. You become disobedient and destructive. You ruin as many lives as you can and then scream you're the victim in it. And that's their philosophy in a nutshell. It's what Friedrich Nietzsche believes. Whereas individualization, you understand why these things were in place to begin with, the safety locks, and then you slowly release them over time. You release these things in order to find your highest self. Which the truth in everybody is we all have infinite potential and we can all be something great. It's not just Blondie or his genes that enable him to become great. And the fact of the matter is if the church wasn't backing Blondie, he would have been shot in the head a long time ago. And the truth about every church leader, for that matter, if the church wasn't backing them, they would have got a bullet to the head a long time ago. There would be no saving them. One of the brief discussions I had with another church leader was he talked about wanting to be free from the church and how he's a slave and he's a victim and blah, blah, blah. And he was like, if you get rid of the church, and I was like, one of the things you're going to have to accept if you get rid of the church, those peoples whose kids you murdered, they're going to come for you. And they're not going to go, I'm just going to listen. You're going to have to quickly find a way to either put yourself in prison or let them kill you. And I remembered the, and you just, it's the immaturity. It is. So, yeah. Now, this was followed by this really funny moment where an elite mummy god was like, I'm going to imitate what you believe is God. Basically. And he's like, and I'm going to give you every opportunity to do the right thing. And then I was like, as long as I got a lawyer. And he went, no! Which, obviously, I'm not going to get a lawyer. Because that's not giving me every opportunity to do the right thing. That's kneecapping, and then him explaining that you can do this the stupid way, and it has to be done the stupid way. It can't be done the smart way, because they're stupid people, and they make you stupid. They make you behave like them. You have to think like a ubermensch retard, and they are ubermensch retards. Anybody goofy enough to ever try to explain to you they're overmen, you should make fun of them. Just make fun of them until they kill themselves. I think about this in the subject, in the correlation to myself, and all these things. I really hope to get these people out of human trafficking before Christmas. I think that would be a great Christmas gift. The truth about courage, you don't have to worry about courage if you have GABA and ashwagandha. You just take high doses of that, you don't have to worry about feeling fear anymore. I don't know why an elite mummy god didn't just say that, but I could picture him now. No, he's not learning the lesson! Fuck you. Fuck you, fuck your lessons, fuck your rules, fuck your religion, fuck your bullshit, man. The fact of the matter is you guys yourselves don't follow your own rules. That's why Blondie lied about everything, okay? That's why Anal Eating Mummy God lied about everything and then said they don't lie. Because it's all fistition. If you catch them lying, they kill you because the solution's erasure, okay? And everything's erasure, so they just erase as many people as they can that contradict their worldviews, who have better ideas, who are smarter, who are superior. They kill them. Because, well, you made me feel insecure, and now I have to prove to you I'm superior through murder, because that's the only skill I have. And I wanted to close this on an ending note. One of the stupider conversations I had with this guy named Kevin. He spoke about throwing out your morals, and then what do you have? If you... Let's just do some critical thinking here. I know a lot of you people in this church can't do this, so this is going to be very painful. You're not going to like it. Thinking physically hurts. It's a form of masochism, and it's something you guys don't have. You throw out all your morals, okay? Now you want something, but you have no moral guideline to get that thing. Think about how Blondie got Mary, under the threat of death. That's how he got her. Under the threat of death. I'm going to kill you if you do not do what I want. And then he goes, that's not me, that's the church. But it's the church he facilitates. It's the church he facilitates. So you know there's a double standard here. Once again, if I was a woman and he's like, oh, my church is going to kill you if you don't murder me, so you're going to leave the church after we get married, right? And immediately they're going to go, ah! Because they're incels. It's the only way they can get laid. They're incels. That is the truth. Their religion, and Friedrich Nietzsche talks about it. Friedrich Nietzsche literally says that the Uberman is so weird and neurotic that they cannot connect with other people because they can't use sympathy or empathy. So they cannot connect with other people, and that is where the human trafficking comes from. That is why Blondie, regardless of how much he virtue signals, and anybody in this church virtue signals about separating the church from human trafficking or changing things or all this stupid bullshit, and it is stupid bullshit, they do not actually want it to go away because at the core and the hard truth for them is they're incels, and that is why they murder every woman I like, because they themselves are terrified of reality. They're the biggest cowards on the planet because they cannot live with the reality that Blondie would have never got to meet or know Mary Bowberry if things didn't go the way they did for me. He created that and then capitalized on it because he doesn't care. Okay? He has no agency in anything he does. He just causes misery and then moves on. Okay? And in his brain, it's good for you, but then if you lash out against him, there's a problem. How does that work? Okay, you'd think he'd be thankful that you just shot him in the head, but he's not gonna. What I was talking about, Kevin. So, Kevin goes, you throw out all your morals, and then you basically want this thing, and then you pursue it, and I was like, and then you commit any atrocity known to man to get that thing you want. I was like, you want ice cream, and instead of waiting in line, you begin shooting people in the back of the head until you get that ice cream. And then he went, no, that's not, I was, where do you think that leads? I was like, what? Okay, I was like, you throw out your morals and then you establish your own code. And he's like, yeah. I was, what do you think you're gonna learn if you have no morals and no values? Where do you think that ultimately leads? And he just had this stupid look on his face. I was like, it's common sense, power. I was like, might will equal right in your world. Having overwhelming force in numbers will mean you're in the right because your only moral becomes force. It becomes under the threat of death in everything. You're going to marry me or I kill you. You're going to do what I want or I kill you. You're going to say what I want or I kill you. 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 And that'll be your only moral ever because any of the other things are limiting, okay? Having to tell the truth is limiting. Not murdering people is limiting. Suddenly you can't take something by force if you can't murder that person. Suddenly you can't take something by force if you can't poison somebody with heavy metals till they're retarded. You can't do those things. And that is what happens when you throw out your moral code. Everything becomes might equals right. I am stronger, therefore I am correct. And any atrocity in history has always been people who are like, I'm stronger, therefore I'm correct. You are not. You're not. You're a mindless, violent, stupid person who, in their self-righteousness, has established that these are the codes we live by. These are the codes, the code of might equals right. We have overwhelming force, money, and power on our side. And that is the only damn thing that matters. Is we are amoral and have no values of any kind. But then you yourself want to live in a society? How does that work? Like, whatever. Yeah. I'm a deeply flawed person. The truth is one of the things I realized through this individualization process, I associate responsibility with getting punished, and I've been overriding that in my mind. I don't really believe that anymore. Standing up for myself, I got punished, and once again, even by this church, I stood up for myself, and I got punished, and I just kept getting punished. And then Ain't Mummy God's like, oh, you don't stand up for yourself. All I did was get punished. I stood up to Stu. He tried to shoot me in the head. He poisoned me. He started harassing me, spreading lies and manipulating. That's what these people do. They spread misinformation. Of course, everything was going to go bad. The entire time they had that white van down here, I was stuck in a constant state of anxiety because I was constantly being observed, and I didn't feel like I had agency or control over my life, which these people love. They love not having agency or control because that means they can be the victims in anything and everything. And Kevin even said that. He said the secret of the church leaders is they're the victims in everything when they're not. They're the bastards. They're the people who need a bullet to the head. That is the furthest from the truth. Yeah. I think I've said my piece. It's weird that we live in an age where people were like, embrace your flaws, embrace these things, and they mentally cripple me. They really do. I don't think, and I think a big chunk of what was going on was these people trying to coerce me into being one of them. Being an amoral sack of shit. Trying to force me through all their surreptitious antisocial bullshit to turn into one of them, a garbage human being, and then go, this is the only way to be, there is no other way to be, which you're wrong. You're wrong because, as I told Annalene Mummy God when he said he was in control and he has all the power, and then I told him, what about me? I happened. And then he was like, I kill you, and I was like, it doesn't matter, I happened. I happened. I was there. I did those things. It happened. Means you're not in control. And that's how that works. I guess in short, might does not equal right.